So Nicole, could you please kick us off? Because I did just mention that you had a successful career prior to Isogenics. So what did that look like? Who was Nicole before we knew her to be Nicole in Isogenics?
Well, first, thank you guys for having me on. I'm so honoured. And when you did ask me to be, I was like, I know I'm going to be in Portugal, but I want to, because that's the thing. There's a difference when you just love what you do. It's like, of course I'm going to be on. Like that's why we have a location-free business. That's why we have technology, is to be able to, do the things that we love and always contribute. And this just isn't work for me. This is fun. So I'm just honoured to be on your girls' call, and I see all the amazing things that this team is doing, and just know that you all inspire me. I love you all. So before Isogenics, I guess to take you back to where my career really took off, and to meet the people that I met, the influence that I met, which brought me into Isogenics. So I, first of all, as someone who didn't go to university, I guess I'll take you back there. I actually had already I had my parents sign off for a 12-month course before I even did my HSC. That's in New South Wales, your HSC. I don't know what it is in, other areas. So I basically rocked up pretty cruisy. I was like, whatever, I'm already in a 12-month course. I'm good to go. I chose sports management because I was someone who sports basically was all I loved at school. So I was like, well, I'll just do a sports program. It's 12 months, it's in and out, and let's go. And it was funny. Not that I disregard university. It has its purpose, it has its place. But I was someone where I literally was that girl who I didn't love anything immensely to go, I'm going to commit my 4 to 5 years to it. Like, it made zero sense to me at that time, 0 cents to mortgage my future being a student based on something I kind of like. Like, it just never made sense to me. So I kind of did a quick course, got out there, got into the real world. So for me, it was like, my real degree is going to be out there and just getting at it in the world. And, went to different jobs, and I'm actually naturally more of an introvert. So it was really funny that my first job, let me take you back to this. Does anyone know those people, in the shopping mall, like Surf Lifesavers or whatever, and they're like, hey, stop and buy a raffle ticket? That was me. And I was this. My first day, I nearly died. because my parents moved me up to Brisbane on a whim, because I had a friend moving up there, and I was like, I'll come, and moved me up there. And this was my first job interview, and the way that they marketed it online was for a sports management role. And I was like, oh, I studied sports management, so of course I'll go for that role. Got the job, but it was going out in the shopping centres and stopping people and doing that. And I was like, oh my God, I die. Like, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but my parents have just moved me up here. I have to take the job. Like, I'm going to have to do this. So I just said yes, because sometimes in life it's just about saying yes. And learning along the way. And then, funny enough, in that job I became the number 1 in Australia, I think, and we started selling pledges. So I would enroll people on, say, $49 a month membership with Surf Lifesavers. I lasted 6 months, which felt like a lifetime. But it was probably the biggest blessing, because you don't know rejection until you work in that type of role. So for me, Isogenics, getting no's, I'm just like, I don't even feel that. Like, what is even happening? Do I get no's? I don't know. That doesn't feel the same way, because in that shopping center, like, you feel it, like, you really feel it. So that was my first role. And then I was like, okay, I'm done. I kind of shifted into the corporate world, went into management and recruitment, found my first mentor in that role, who's now a really good friend of mine. Kind of got my training wheels in a sense. And then shifted to another role where I know at that time I'd actually quit my job before I got the job. So again, sometimes it's like, when I look at my journey, it's like you have to put yourself in the riskiest situation to create your own urgency. Like, as humans, sometimes you need to kick your own butt, because I walked into this role and it was at a business coaching company, which is where I spent nearly 4 years. And I was 21. I'd never been in business. I hadn't studied business, and I had to get the job somehow. And I walked in, I walked out, and And the day later I had the job, and my role was in the front line, so in business development, and it was going out and speaking with the business owners and their management teams. And it was, out on the road in their meetings, looking, we rip apart their business, their front of house, their back end, what's working, what's not, where are the gaps, where are the challenges, the reality, all of that stuff. What do they need? And it's funny because, again, as a 21-year-old, knowing zip about business, a lot of people are like, well, why would they even give you that job? And one thing that always sticks with me is the director in our one-on-one interview said to me, she said, Nick, I don't care what you've done. She said, I don't care about a piece of paper. I don't care what you've done. I care about what we believe we can help you become. And that to me was like, so that company was probably the biggest game changer in my career before Isagenix, but led me to Isagenix. And that line has stuck with me ever since, was, we don't care what you've done. We care what we believe we can help you become. And that's, I guess it's nearly similar to what we do, because they had the system. They had the best trainers and coaches and mentors and environment and culture. They had everything. They just needed the right person and to mold you into what they, what was so valuable to them. So I was there for, I think, nearly 4 years, being around entrepreneurs and business coaches and business owners. And it was interesting. So I've grown up with a family of business owners. Mum and dad have always owned a business. My brother went into business as a builder. It's very it's a natural process. So it was never odd for me. It was more odd for me to be an employee. It was more odd for me to kind of be in a 9 to 5. Like, I remember being in my job and I was having a girls' weekend. And you know how you have to ask for time off in jobs? I was like, what the fuck is this? I was like, my girls' weekend starts on Friday. I've got to go on Friday. And so I couldn't get the time off. So, I was the worst employee. So I pretended that I was out on a meeting, but I was actually already on a plane to Melbourne. And so I was like, look, I'm in this meeting. It's going to go for longer. I've got to chat with the management team. Anyway, I was popping champagne with the girls in Melbourne, because I was like, this doesn't make sense that I have to ask for my own time off when I'm hitting my KPIs. And so it was really weird. So for me, it was, I always scratched for autonomy in my role. So I always had to be out on the road. I didn't love coming into the office. I didn't believe, I just scratched for that autonomy. But the interesting thing was, I knew I'd always either be in business for myself or climb to the top of the ladder, because I thought there'd be autonomy at the top. And being in that company where you're dealing with tradition every single day, it scared me away from business, completely scared the crap out of me, because it was this many that actually made it and was successful. And the amount of conversations when you think I'm going out chatting with business owners about their business and sales systems, etc., that was the surface. But the base was the relationship breakdowns, and the base was the stress, and the base was the health, crisis that they go through because they don't have enough cash flow coming in to pay themselves, and they haven't had a holiday in 5 years, and they went into business to own a business, but the business owns them. And so I'm in this world of, I want to be a business owner, but I can't do that because I've seen the reality of that. And one thing that I really learned is that when you're in traditional business, it was either you needed two things, and it's actually what Isagenix has, but you either have someone who's really passionate about what they do. So take a chef, for example, a chef opening up a restaurant. They're so the doing and what they produce, but they don't have the business backbone. Or the opposite, and you've got someone who's so business-minded, but they don't really care about that. They don't have that passion of what's producing out there. And if you don't have that balance of both, it was bloody hard for them. And for me, I don't know if anyone can relate to this, but there wasn't one thing that I knew I was amazing at or that I was really passionate about. So I'm like, what would I create a business around anyway? So I kind of shifted from that role and went into this creation of, okay, well, I want to work for myself, don't want traditional business. So I'll become a business development consultant, and I'll place myself as a middleman. And I'll contract for the builder, the furniture designer, the manufacturer, and the fit out guy. I'll win one job, pass it to all 4, get 4 commissions. So that was my idea, but it didn't like work that well. And then Isogenics entered about 12 months later. Yeah.
Wow. I think, it just is so crazy, because we speak to a lot of people in Isogenics who have either had a traditional business or like you didn't necessarily have a traditional business, thank goodness. You saw the shit that came along with a traditional business, which, would you agree, so many people are moving from, okay, I don't want to be an employee mindset, which is awesome. I think we're seeing like a transition through that, but then they still think that this own my own business is going to be the way out. And it's like,
it's a real slap in the face for a lot of people. And it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking because I love small business. Like, I think it's the heartbeat of Australia, probably New Zealand as well. So I fully support it because I know what they go through. And that's the thing, is a lot of people going into business, they think it's the epitome of everything. Like, you're your own boss, you can do what you want, all the rest of it. But the reality just isn't that. The reality is just like heartbreaking at times. You know, when you've got a grown man in front of you who owns a business and he's run it for 10 years and he breaks down crying in front of you as a 22-year-old woman because of just the harshness and the reality and the stress on their family and that's real. That's actually what's going on.
So what was the biggest lesson you learned during that time, babe? I mean, I think you did have quite a, unique experience, because as you said, you already knew.
Oh, is that me or is that Bianca? Has she frozen for anyone?
Yeah, she's frozen.
Go from your parents, from your brother, like you weren't an employee. Oh, no, it's probably me. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, sorry, baby, froze. Yeah, I think you're good now.
No, that's all right. I might jump on my phone when you're answering this. We've got like 6 people in the house at the moment, or like the internet's kind of probably overloaded. Yeah. You kind of had a unique experience, right? Like, as you mentioned, like you just were probably not going to be in business. Like, what was the biggest lesson you learned during that time before you then share with us how Isogenics came into your life?
Probably the biggest lesson learnt in that time there was that every business owner, what they really got was that there's always someone going through the same pain or situation as yourself, and that it is so important, like absolutely important, like a non-negotiable, that you better have support around you from other people. Because that's really what we did. Is it wasn't even one-on-one coaching sessions. We put business owners in groups. So say 10 to 14, and there would only be one business from each industry because of, competitiveness and all the rest of it. But whether it was, a builder, whether it was a manufacturer, whether it was, a hairdresser, it didn't matter the industry. So how old you are, if you're male or female, what you've done, it just did not matter. Challenges. They all had similar wins. They all had a similar journey, because the foundations of something never change. The foundations of what is needed never changed in business. It was just the magic that they as a business put on top of it. And I think that that's the purity, and that's the magic that we have in Isogenics as well, is that the foundations and the system never changes. But what I've really learned is it's about what magic do you as your team or you as an individual put on top of it that makes the difference.
So juicy. And that's community, right? Said another way.
Yeah,
that's
it's so important.
Heart, integrity, love, support. Like, that's all that extra juice that you can add on top of it. So, okay, you're in there, you're assessing all these businesses. You're like, no, not for me. This is not what I want to do. You're seeing the health crisis, the toll it's taking. how does Isogenics come along? How does Isogenics come into your world?
So it was interesting. So Catch, some of you may know Catch Blackburn. So he worked with me at the college. That's how we met. We had both left there to do our own thing, and then he recontacted me. And I actually knew it would be about business because that's kind of the relationship that we had. Do you know what I mean? We hadn't spoken for a little while. He's calling me saying, hey, Nick Nack, let's catch up for coffee. And I'm like, oh, what's he got? So, so we caught up. And I guess to take you back a little further, when I was with the coaching company, one of the other girls there was in Amway. And she'd been in Amway, I think, since she was 18, like starting university. And I guess I got not hit up a lot, but it came quite a bit. Like I'd been exposed to network marketing a little bit just because of the position I was in. And anyway, she was someone that I trusted. That's another key. I like really trusted her. So I was like, okay, this makes sense. And she drew out a comp plan of Amway, kind of how it works, casted the vision. And of course, if you sit and you listen, you get it. Like if you sit and you listen to a network marketing model, you're going to get it. And so I got it and I was like, this makes sense. And so I actually started in Amway, and I joke about it because I'm like, oh my God, I was in network marketing for 62 and a half days and I was in and out. I was just like, because it just wasn't a great experience, right? Because it's like anything. It's like the profession and the business model made sense, but the experience and the way in which they did it, it just wasn't aligned with me. And it doesn't mean it's not right for someone else. It just wasn't for me. I was just like, this is a no deal. So when Catch called me and we sat down, I'd seen he'd had this health transformation. I'd seen his before and after on Facebook, but I didn't really think much of it, to be honest. And obviously I'd had all of that. So I was like, okay, the products make sense. But then he told me it was network marketing and I was just like this. Do you guys swear? Because I told him to fuck off, basically. Sorry if you don't. But I was just like, don't even come at me with the business. Like I've been in Amway. I know what this is all about. I was in Amway for 62 and a half days. I know everything there is to know. And I will not do that to myself or like poor Dan, my partner, tradie, reserved, never done anything like this in his world. And I pulled him straight into Amway, the poor bugger, like he's tarnished for life. So it's, 3.5 years in and I'm just he hasn't even come to an Isogenics event yet. But so that was my experience. So Catch called me up and we sat for about 2 hours. And do you know what? It was right before 2 p.m. deadline because you should have seen how quick he was getting my details into the system. I think I was his double PIB for the week. Now that I look back at it, I was like, I was definitely the double PIB. And I had said no to the business, but I said yes to the product. There was two. The surface-based reason was because I was going on a girls' trip to New York and Miami and had 27 days to get in a bikini. So I was like, get me the box, I'll probably send it back. But then the real kind of essence of what was going on there is that I understood that it was a very visual and emotional product, which Amway was not. So I understood that. I kind of walked away and went, well, if this works, and if I shared my results, this person would see it and they'd get started and they get started. So my mind started ticking. So I was kind of like at the front, I was like, I don't want to do this. But in the back of my head, that business mind is going, it makes sense. It's visual, it's emotional, it's consumable. Oh my God, if it works, could you share a photo? Anyway, so I got started, got phenomenal results. My personal trainer was blown away. It was like, the lowest body fat percentage I'd been 3 years training with him. I got in 23 days. Phenomenal results. I went on to my girls' holiday. I hadn't gone into the business yet. I was still very much not interested or pretending to be not interested. So I did the month on the products, went away on holidays for a few weeks. While I was away, I had got a couple of friends started because it was literally from catching up. I was having green tea instead of a wine, which was quite weird. And like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm doing this cleanse thing. And so they're like, I want to do that. And I said, well, look, it's my friend's business. It's Catchy's business. I'll get him to shoot you the info because I just wanted nothing to do with it. And they ended up getting started. So then when I was in New York, I remember being on the top of a roof money I had left for the holiday, and I got paid $1,100 from Isogenics. And I just, like, all of these light bulbs just came off because I was like, hold on, I got results. I just sent people to Catch. My sister-in-law got phenomenal results. Okay, it works for other people. And then I got paid $1,100. So I flew back. It was around September. And I called Catch and I said, meet up with me for breakfast. I need you to draw this out. Show me how this works and let's go. And we went for it. And within 4 months, I had left my other work and it was just full-time Isogenics. So, yeah, get your people paid.
Wow. So you said that you weren't interested in the business in the beginning, but so did Catch not fully draw it out for you? Did he just kind of like describe it for you in the beginning and then you were like, okay, now I need you to draw it out? Or how did that look? Because I guess where my question then stems from is, what is it that you do now? Are you a believer that it's all or nothing from the get-go you show people?
Yeah, definitely. And that's one thing, I guess, a learning that I'll share with you guys is one thing I was terrible at for, I believe, a good 2 years was actually sharing the full opportunity, because it took me a long time, even though I went full time and I went quick and blah, blah, blah. It's not like what you think. I went like that and then I went like that and then I went like a normal business goes. And so for me, I was terrible at really sharing the opportunity and the money because I had the M-way in the back of my head. Whether I knew it or not, subconsciously it was just there for me. It was so there for me in all of my conversations and how I showed up on social media and everything. Like, I didn't even tell my friends that I was doing this as a business because I wanted to go be a roundabout way of like, they know what I'm doing, they'll just ask me. And there was so much crap that went down with that now it's like, okay, well, I have this experience to pass on to my team. Is like, you just got to be upfront and own it as soon, like from the get-go. As soon as you decide, that's when your environment's decided as well. Whereas it's like, I kind of decided, but I didn't do the actions that proved the decision, if that makes sense. So I was really bad at sharing the money at the start. And now it's a non-negotiable. Now our team has, it's called Pathway to Free Products, and it's a 3-step system. And the first one, and guys, I don't make it up, I take it from the best of the best, Academ slogan, which is, as soon as someone says, yep, order my box, you're saying to them, okay, amazing. Look, curiously, who are 2 people you know for sure would want to do this with you? Like, that's just our first step. It's step 1. And then they're sharing their names and you're just following that process, texting a few, posting, done. Like, it's just part. Now, the message that we want weaved throughout our organisation is 2 people, potentially 400. 2 people, potentially 400. In New Zealand, 2 people, 450. 2 people, 450. And that's just that message that is continually shared throughout our organisation. More people are getting to consult. Really kind of bad at it. I think he did draw it out because I think my internet's unstable. Have you guys got me? Am I on? Yeah. I believe Catch did draw it out, and what he did really well is, even though I was guarded saying no, he did cast the vision of what was possible. Because I did more knowing if the results work, this would equal this. It's an emotional product. That's why it's working. I think he even showed me his pay. Like, he actually was like, here's what I've been paid in the last month. So it was real transparency. And I looked okay.
Boom.
So it was that full transparency. Yeah.
Boom. Okay, so you said something really interesting there, and I'd love for you to cast your opinion, I guess. You said you want to own it. Like, you don't want to be shady, you want to really own it. So do you encourage people to own that they're doing Isogenics from the get-go, even if they've not yet made some money? Or do you have a bit of a, because we all see some people are like hard out Isogenics on their Facebook and other people are like curiosity central. What's your vibe? How do you give advice around that?
Yeah, perfect. I love that. I feel like we've gone through a transition phase. I feel like when I started that 3.5 years ago, it was all about curiosity. Like, it was just curiosity. You would never share Isogenics. And that was kind of the rule of thumb. And then it's like we've gone through this other phase where we all knew where we're heading, where network marketing is really coming over the hangover phase, and people are starting to get that it is sexy, even though we've known it's been sexy for a long time. And so people are really looking for it. So what I personally do is I cast the vision of both to my team, and I get them to own what they want to do. Because I am all for someone owning they do. Now, when someone does their initial post, I do recognize that's their magic, that's their truth, that's the way that they want to build. There is no one way to build this business, and I think the more that we understand that and own that, the more that we're going to flourish, because we're not hanging on to this is what it's meant to look like. It's what it's meant to look like with however you do it, right? Like there is a system to follow, there are suggestions to follow, but then it's up to each individual has their own unique place. So I think we've transitioned from never ever saying it on social media, et cetera, until you get into PM, to now seeding it. I also think it depends on where you're at. See, I do share it on my wall, but I'm 3.5 years in, guys. Like a lot of my network knows that I do it. I do not blast it because I don't believe that that's what people are looking for. People don't go onto Facebook to buy something. They go onto Facebook to stalk. They go onto Facebook to get connected because it's like a reality TV show, and you've just got to go, am I worth watching? Am I giving value? Am I connecting with people? Am I being open, authentic, and sharing my journey? And if Isogenics is part of that journey, then yes, seed it. If someone is brand new in their first post, I will still suggest them not necessarily say it unless they choose to, and then I support that. And the reason why is because in that first kind of 6 months, you're in a hot zone. You're in a hot zone where your warm market doesn't really know anything. So give the opportunity to create curiosity. Now, as soon as they're talking to them about it, of course, yeah, I'm doing the Isogenic system. It's phenomenal. Have you heard of it? Have you done it? Whatever it might be, it's like straight into that conversation. Then I think you have to trust. Here's a big thing in this business, and I think that we all need to take more on, is you've got to just trust yourself more. Like you've got to trust yourself when you know you're transitioning into a period, because I also believe that more people are looking for Isogenics right now. And so if you're not seeding it enough, and I don't mean blasting it, because guys, there's a difference between being on there, like I'm going to say this straight up. There's some people within network marketing, I wish that they'd just be product users. I really do. They will be a phenomenal product user, because let the people who are going to do this the right way take care of this business. And I know all you guys on here really do, because you get trained the right way, in an authentic, genuine way. But you've got to trust your process and go, you know what? It feels good to me to share that this is the company that I'm with right now. I'm past my 6 months. I'm past my 12 months. People know what I'm doing. People are looking for Isogenics. People are looking for network marketing. If I don't share with them that this is a company that I love and that I own, then they're going to find it with someone else. That's just the reality, because who here believes that Isogenics will be in everyone's cupboard over the next 10 years? Household name. Yeah. So it's either going to be with the help of you or the help of someone else. So I always give the option, and that's what I've been doing probably the last 6 months, is with your person. I say, look, we suggest not, because you're in 6 months of hot zone, where your network doesn't know what you're doing. And I explain in the way of like, I might sound weird, but the reason why I say that is because if they don't know what you're doing and you tell them straight up exactly what it is, they'll go Google it, find the retail price, never look at it again, or sign with someone and not get the support that they need. So create the curiosity for a few months, and then you're going to trust yourself to transition into when you really start seeding it. But yeah, big difference between seeding and blasting. Big difference. So I think you have to trust yourself in that process.
Yeah, you're so right. Trust yourself to know where you're at in your journey and know what feels good and authentic for you. So
yeah, and know where they talk about like your storyboard in marketing. Just every 6 months, reassess your storyboard. You know, where is your storyboard now? What is the story, the vision, the connection, the value add that you're adding for the next 6 months? Because what I do now, and, you know, I'm sure, B, you can relate, what you're looking to create, where you're going, is so different to my first 6 months, where it was a lot of before and afters, and it was, you know, you're just fumbling basically. But every 6 months, really check in and get connected is, where's my storyboard? What am I going to add value around? How am I connecting with people? Who am I connecting with? What is my story right now? What is my vision right now? And that's where you take it for the next 6 months. It's never going to stay the same.
That was juicy AF. I love that. I definitely got that for myself as well, 6 month chunks, because my journey has massively changed as well. And it doesn't necessarily feel, well, not authentic's not the right word, but it just doesn't feel necessarily massively congruent for me to post a before and after every night, because that's not who I'm looking for now. I'm looking for the powerful women who want freedom, who want to create a lifestyle. So for me, that's what I'm wanting to post about. Now, you've had amazing success in Isagenix, and you just get it. You've pretty much got it from the get-go, even if you were pretending that you kind of didn't want to buy it, but you just get it. So I have no doubt that you would have people from other companies. There's lots of flashy companies that we see coming and going. We don't need to name names, but, you know, they come and they're here 1 minute and then they're gone the next, and people are like, oh, squirrel, you know, shiny thing. What keeps you in Isagenix, given the incredible amount of opportunity that's out there to join other companies? What keeps you in Isagenix?
A decision. You make a decision once. It's so much easier than having to make it over and over again every week or every month or every year, because it'll just derail you. For me, when that comes up, and it came up just the other week, I don't know what they're called. I knew that they were coming. The wine company. There's a network marketing wine company. Now, if you watch my Instagram and Facebook, I'm a wine lover. For sure. Wait, am I on? Have you got me? I think my internet's unstable. Okay, sorry. I think it goes off. I got approached again just the other day, and it was the, you know, when you're in this long enough, you know what kind of approach you're getting. So I was getting the, can you give me feedback on our comp plan approach? I'm looking at this company, you know, can you give me some feedback, blah, blah, blah. For me, it's really interesting when someone gets distracted. You never really made the decision to be with Isagenix, and therefore that's probably why your business never really grew. It's as simple as that. It's the same as this, is because this will happen in your business, happened in mine. When someone says they want the business so much, so much, right? They really, really want the business, because everyone wants the outcome. You don't necessarily want the journey or the work, right? But you have to have all of it. They want the business, but then life happens, and then they stop ordering 100 BV, 200 BV, 300 BV. They stop using the products. To me, when they come back to me and say, I'm back, I'm on track, I want this, I say, you never wanted it in the first place. It was never going to work because you never loved the products enough to love what the business is, which is the products in the first place. If you're going off these products, you are never going to build a successful business ever, because you're willing to stop using the products, which is the business. It is the business. You don't love them enough. They're not integrated into your world. They're not who you are. They're not your lifestyle. You just want the outcome of it, and now you're ready to reorder so you can do a business. To me, that's not someone that I'm yet willing to work with. Like, it's as simple as that. So when opportunities, sparkly things come my way, to be honest, it's just not even a second thought. Like, I'll add value to that person and cheer them on and celebrate them, because that excites me, especially if there's someone who I think is an ambassador for network marketing, because I think we need more of that. But for me, it's like, you've got to decide, are all your cards on the table? Are all your cards on the table with Isagenix? No matter what the next 5 or 10 years looks. And for me, to be the largest health and wellness company in the world, all my chips are in. So when all your chips are in, there is no distraction of shiny things. There is no, you know what, life's happened. The next couple of months have been rough. I'm off the products. No, it's just not even there. So I would check in with yourself. And if that's faltering, or if it is within your team, you need to go work on your belief in one of the areas. You need to work out why. why are you being distracted by these things? Because your chips aren't all in. And if they're not all in, it's never going to grow the way you grow.
Can I get an amen to that? Oh, yes. Oh, I love you. I love you and your realness and your rawness. And that's, girls, just so you know, when Nicole asked, like, what kind of style are we doing the call? I said, honestly, I just want to hear you. Whatever comes up, whatever you feel you have to give, that's what I want, because that's what this business is about, right? Like, we need more people being real about the journey. This is not all hearts and flowers. Like, yes, we've earned 6 figures in this business. Has it been a walk in the park? Hell freaking no. Like, hell freaking no. Most people would not want to do what we've had to do to get what we've got, but they just want what we've got, what you've got, what Katja's got, what they see the millionaires on the stage have got. So who is it that you're looking for? What are the traits, what are the characteristics that you now 3 years in are looking for? Who should we be?
Sorry, it's cutting out the characteristics that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Is this
Yeah.
my end? Sorry, guys.
It's all right, babe. I don't know. Could be a mixture.
Okay. For me now, and this is again, is that you're going to transition so much. And here's the other thing I'll share with you, because I'm thinking some of you might be in this position, because if I was there, I'm sure some people would be. I know when I started in this business, probably for that first 12 months, there was, Peter Kelly and Anna Richards were really massive, and they're the ones that I kind of resonated with when I first got started. They were so clear on the vision, and they were so clear with who they were, and what they created, and all the rest of it. And I thought I was missing something, because I was so confused. It was so, and so go Start Your Life Way. I could go like the Women in Business. I don't know who I'm for. Blah blah blah. Oh gosh, do you guys have me? I'm still on. Have you got me? I come in and out. Wonder if I can change over internet. Okay, I'm back.
Got you now.
So I remember being really foggy for a long time, and I still go through periods of fog, normal, because everyone seemed so clear on who they were after and what they were building in that vision. And one thing that I know is that wherever you're at, and if you're not clear on who you're looking for, you have to stay in motion. You have to stay in motion, because motion will bring you clarity. So I remember sitting there like stuck for a long time, trying to work out exactly what it would be. But if you're not staying in motion, it's not going to become clear. See, what I'm creating right now and what I want to create in the next months, I never would have thought 3 years ago, right? So that's the first thing, is if you're unsure who you're for or what you're creating, just stay in motion. Just stay in motion. Keep doing the actions, because it's really, really clear when you're in motion. It's called a law of possession. So it's like Gandhi did not know who he was going to be or what he was going to create when he was doing what he was doing. It's just he kept doing it, and then he becomes Gandhi. Mother Teresa did not go out to be Mother Teresa. She just kept doing, stay in motion. If you're feeling stuck, you got to move. Your message is. Personally, I'm probably in a similar place to you. It isn't necessarily that we're in a period where women are looking for options, because what I can relate to is the woman Am I good? Can you guys hear me okay?
You're back.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I've just switched over internet, so hopefully this works. So the woman that I'm looking for is the experience that you've gone through, that the people around you go through, and that you want to create. Think of that person. So for me, she's someone who, she is actually a self-starter. She's already been in corporate, or she's a business owner, because for me, I actually want to work with someone straight up who has an entrepreneurial mindset and who knows hustle and grit, because I believe you have to know grit to be in network marketing. I believe it's harder for me to teach someone that than to teach them the skills. So for me, I've just come to learn that, is that I'm after that woman who, she's a traditional business owner, because if she's built a traditional business, she's going to fly in network marketing. Or she's been in corporate climbing the ladder because she knows what it takes. She's done personal development. I'm after someone who is really a self-starter, and I'm after someone who is better than me. I am after leaders who are so much better than me, who are going to literally come at this and go, Nick, I've got this. I'm creating my own team, and I'm going to soar this way with my magic. Thank you for the system. Thank you for the training. Thank you for the tools. Thank you for the guidance. Here's my magic, go. That's what I'm looking for. So that's kind of like what my messaging is going to be, I guess, more targeted towards, because for me, it's not about the most people right now. It's about the right people. And I'm not saying that that's where you're at, because I've enrolled 260 something people. So you might have only enrolled 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 or 50. You might still be at the phase where just keep in motion, but keep in the basics of the motion, because you don't necessarily, have that vision or in that area where you're ready to attract that next person. You've just got to build yourself up and keep learning the skills, because that's what I had to do for 3 years, is really understand how I do want to do this business and how I don't want to do this business. And that's something I'm really grateful for, is, the way in which I built in those first couple of years, so grateful for it. But there's so much that I learned where I'm like, oh, I don't want to do it that way anymore. And that's the beauty of what we have in this business, is you get to do it however you want to do it. And the way that feels good to you, like your magic, when people order the box, what do they get with Bianca? Why would they order the box with Bianca? Why would they order the box with Corinne? Why would they order the box with Wendy? Like, that's when you start, like, everything starts feeling good in this business. So for me, I guess it's, I just had to look around and go, okay, the women that I admire, the women that I would want to hang around, travel with, work with, who are they? What is their pain? What is their reality? So many of them are transitioning from corporate to motherhood, and they're losing identity because they're having to step out of their job to then, raise their child. Like, I have many friends who are this, and then they get guilty because they're like, I miss that career. I miss what I'm doing, but I would never choose it over my children. I don't want to, of course not. My children mean everything to me, but then they're losing something. And they're wanting to get that autonomy back. Remember, I was very autonomy. Like, for me, I'm looking for that woman who's very independent, who's very, she already has that mindset. She's already gone through grit. Because, like I said, the skills can be easy to teach. The other stuff is sometimes like throwing mud at the wall.
Yes. I think you touched on something that doesn't get spoken about enough, because the initial 2 years of our build, and I say this not necessarily with pride, but just out of realness, because Adam and I are the same. We've enrolled like 289, I think, in 3.5 years. Those first 2 years, we needed double PIBs every week to survive. Now, that didn't always look pretty, because it was coming from a place of desperation, but it was just what we had to do. And I think that some people think that in the beginning, they can come into network marketing with just the whole mindset of, oh, I'm just going to attract who I want, and, rah, rah, rah. It doesn't get the fucking plane off the ground, and then they quit. No. And now I feel only now, 3.5 years in, all the trips under our belt, all the money, all the blah, 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 whatever, am I able to not be an enrolling machine and actually have an income that still comes in each week, that gives me the time to be able to actually focus and go, who is it that I want to partner with?
So it's
Yeah.
such an amazing message that you just shared in the beginning. You just can't quit. You have to just do what you have to do.
It takes,
for
like,
most people.
You have to know when to sprint. And if there's not times in your business where you're sprinting, like you said, B, you won't get it off the ground. Like, look at those numbers. I've enrolled 260, 270. You guys have enrolled 290, in 3.5 years. And here's the beauty, though, is that I actually say to people, I'm like, oh, I'm so glad that you're in this business now, because 3.5 years ago, I was shit. I was like, it would have been terrible. You were not set up right. Nothing was in place. I didn't know what to do. Sometimes I still don't, but it's so much better now. And you really do. There needs to be times in your business where if you're not willing to sprint, you will never get it off the ground. And it's painful. It's so painful. So don't be... Yeah, I guess that it comes back to trusting where you're at in your journey, because when you're starting, it's like, I always talk about time, how it works in two ways. One is that never take for granted the urgency you can create in time. Like, if you've got actions to do, you do them now. Like, you've got to get into action. You can't take it for granted. You've got to do whatever you've got to do to create urgency in your world. That's why I think being part-time in this business is very powerful, because you have no option than to be urgent with your actions. When you're given options, we take options. So when you're part-time in this business, you have no option but to be urgent in your action, and that's so damn powerful. So yes, use the time to sprint, use the time to link arms for 90 days and absolutely run with it. But then understand that time works in another way, and you have to give it grace, because you cannot cheat how long it's going to take. That's what I've learned. I can't cheat how long it's going to take me to get wherever I'm going to get. All I can control is the time and the actions that I'm going to do right now, and how urgent I'm going to be, and intentional I'm going to be, and passionate I'm going to be about it. But I need to give time and success journey the grace that it deserves, because being in this business, 3.5 years, there's so often where I look and I go, my gosh, I'm slow. Like, where I'm at is just not where I thought I would be. I'm like, it's not good enough. And I get into this not good enough thing. But that's only when I'm comparing to someone else who has done more, because really, if anyone looked at where my business is, it is actually phenomenal of what you've probably already created. Look at what you've already created and acknowledge it and treat it like the best friend that it is. Because if you're not giving it that love and that acknowledgement and that appreciation that Peter Kelly spoke about, then it's not going to take you further. So for me, it's like trusting that time works in two ways. Be as urgent as you can with the time you have right now, but don't ever think you're going to be able to cheat the journey. Because if it's going to take you 5 years, it's going to take you 5. If it's going to take you 10, it's going to take you 10. And would you be okay with 100 to 200,000 residual a year as a base after even 10 years? I would think yes.
Heck yes. Oh my gosh, I don't think I've really heard anyone speak, I mean, aside from PK on the weekend, but what you just said there was so gold, because I hear people say, how do you speak about money? You've got to be really careful how you speak about money. If you speak about it like shit, it's not going to stick around. But that's so the same with your business. Like, if you speak about your business like, this is hard, this is such a slog, no one's enrolling,
good enough.
Oh my God, my fucking team is so slow. Like, why don't they do anything? They don't never listen. Like, that's what you're going to keep getting. That's exactly what you're going to keep getting. And I just really love that you shared it in that way, because that's so true. And what do you tell your team now in terms of reality and expectation? Is it what you just said? Like, would you be okay with it taking 10 years? We've got 7 or so minutes left on the call. Like, what would you tell these girls, if this was a group of women who were like, Nicole, I want it. Like, I really do want it. Like, what can you leave them with?
Everything that's coming their way. Everything. Think of it like Derby, but for a lifetime. So I share everything. So when you're talking to, or when I'm talking to my team, and, we're getting connected with, what is the impact that they need to make? What is the changes that they want? Why are they really doing this? What are they connected to? You have to give the reality of everything. So I ask straight up, I'm like, it's a 5-year commitment. Are you going to give me that? Are you going to give your business that? Are you going to give that result of what you're looking for to be able to pick your kids up and drop them off, are you going to give it 5 years? Like, give them every reality. And then I say to them, I say, hey, here's the different phases you're going to go through. You're probably going to have some friends that aren't going to get it. You're probably going to be torn down. In fact, I hope that you are, because if you don't feel these things and if you don't get these things along the journey, I don't think you're going to earn the end result. That's just the reality of it. And I hope that you do, because it actually it helps you become who you are, and to be able to share that story and that pain and that challenge with the next person, which is where we then become relatable. So for me, if you're not feeling the pinch, you're not doing enough. If you're not feeling some pain, you're not pushing it enough. And every next level is a new level. So for me, and I'll share with you guys, like last month when I hit 4-star, it was phenomenal, but then I got really lost for a few weeks and I just felt down and out. I was like, I don't know if I can really build a phenomenal team. I don't even know if I can do this. Do I even know what I'm doing? Like, all of these things came into mind, and there's a lot of stuff around that, which is for another time. But it was like, the reason why is because just because you've climbed one mountain and hit it, you're now at the bottom of the next one. So there is always going to be the pinch while you're growing. There is always going to be the pain while you're growing. And if you're not feeling that, you're not pushing it. You're just not. And so for me, when I'm setting someone up, I want to set them up with everything, like with what might be coming their way, with what they're going to go through. But then I'm going to also be saying to them, here is what I need you to do. I need you to be in contact with me. I need you to be in communication, because I've been through it. The rest of the team's been through it. And if you haven't, really, it's nearly like earning an award. Like, when you go through the mental breakdown and the wall kicking moment, like literally, because I do kick things, like you go through a wall kicking moment and then like you break down and you're in the shower crying, and then your friends, mock you and like backstab you and talk bad about you and like all of that. Like, I can't wait, because I give you a medal when that starts happening. I'm like, okay, we're on. Like, this is where it's going to start getting good, because
we're doing something right.
You're doing something right. It's like, this is, another level, another devil. But I just set them up for that. So when it happens, they're like, Nick said this is normal. This is part of it, versus, oh, I didn't expect this. Or I didn't sign up for this. So let them know what they're signing up for from the get-go, and that it is normal. It is okay. It is actually needed and required for them, and that you've been through it. The whole team's been through it, and it's just part of the journey. And how good when it happens. And I also say this to people. I'm like, you know what? If you're committed to that, it means this, and this is going to happen. Do you want to get it out of the way sooner or later? I think we just get it out of the way sooner. Well, let's go.
So
it's going to happen.
And so my final question, is it all worth it?
Is it all worth it? Guys, I'm in Portugal. I'm in Portugal. I remembered what day it was when we started talking, but it's like, it's so worth it, but not even for so many reasons than the obvious. Like, I get you. It could be like, yes, I'm in Portugal. Yes, it's location free. It's, yes, I'm earning money. I haven't done anything this week besides cheer on team. Actually, I'm going to be honest. I've been pretty shit for 3 weeks because I got a little bit lost. And then I was like, but I got paid every week. But for me, though, what is worth it is who I get to become. Like, when people talk about being a millionaire, $1 million earner, the money is the money. Like, that's just the effect of. Do you know what I mean? Like, once you become $1 million earner in one thing, you can create it in another. The money is just the effect of. For me, it's like, it excites me to become the person I'm meant to be. Like, it excites me to go, oh, I wonder who I'm going to be when I get to that level, when I go through that challenge. Because it's like the worst thing to kind of get to at the end of another year or 5 years and go, crap, I didn't even meet that girl because I didn't even go for it. Like, I wonder who she even is. Do you know what I mean? So for me, it's more worth it in the growth and in the relationships and in the community and in the love. And to me, that outweighs the money, because the money is the effect of that. Yeah.
Amen, sister. It is so worth it. And once again, I just want to honour you and thank you for taking your time. Ladies, if you jumped on late, just so you know, Nicole's in Portugal at the moment. She hasn't seen her partner for 3.5 months, and they're there having some time together, and she gave up this hour to pour her love and her realness and her rawness into us. And I just honour you so much for that. You are the exact kind of woman I'm looking for. So it's no wonder that I, just think the world of you. You're amazing. And if we could get a photo, that would be amazing, because I'd love to give you a shout out. And ladies, make sure, Cosette, could you grab the photo, babe, on your laptop? And then we can give Nicole a good bit of love and let her go off into the Portuguese sun.